How you doing? Tonight we're going to do one of my most requested dishes by family and friends. It's a really quick, easy dish to do. As far as the name, it's kind of a chicken spaghetti or a chicken spaghetti casserole. You might even call it a Cajun chicken spaghetti casserole because I like to add a little andouille sausage. But it's, you know, a real Americanized dish, I guess you would say, southern, you know, comfort, home cooking meal. And what I really like about it is you can make most of the meal ahead of time. You can go ahead and put it in the refrigerator, and you can go ahead and bake it off in the oven like 20 minutes before you're ready to serve it. So it's one of those things you can make the day or the night before and go ahead and have it ready to bake the next day. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on here today. I'm going to start with the sauce, and then we're going to get started on the noodles. So first off, here on the stove, I've got my andouille sausage going. I'm going to go ahead and get it in the skillet. Alright, got my skillet nice and hot. I've got a little less than a half a pound of andouille sausage chopped up real small. Get this in the skillet. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, brown or cook this sausage actually, because, you know, it's not cooked. When you get it's just been lightly smoked. So I'm going to cook this sausage. Let me get this light on here, you can see a little bit better. I'm going to cook this sausage down, let it release some of those juices, a little bit of that oil, grease out of there. And then I'm going to start adding some more of my sauce. Now before I did all this, I got to tell y'all, I went ahead and I boiled some chicken earlier. I boiled some chicken, I pulled it apart because I kind of like to have the chicken cool when I put it in here. So I just boiled some chicken breasts. I just pulled those apart and I reserved the stock. I reserved about 4 quarts of stock, and I've got it over here boiling in this other pot. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I'm going to save it to cook my noodles in. It's very imperative that you keep the stock. The stock plays a very important role in this dish, and you want to boil your noodles in, and we'll add some to the main dish itself. We'll go ahead and I'll keep this stirred around. As soon as this gets a little bit little brown here, we'll go ahead and start adding some of the other stuff. Okay, well I got this sausage browned down pretty good, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of the other ingredients so it's not really cooked too much anymore. First off, I'm going to add, I've got some Rotel. I've got 1 can of original Rotel. We'll have some kids over tonight, so I normally put the hot in, but we'll have nieces and nephews over, so I don't want to get it too hot for them. I may turn that heat down just a little bit. Alright, I got that. I'm going to go ahead and add some just Alfredo sauce. Any kind will do. I happen to get this cheesy Alfredo by Ragu. It's a 16-ounce jar. I'm going to pour that in there. Okay? Do as much as you can. That stirred around. Also, I've got over to the side here, I've got a package. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is just quick and easy. I've got a package of a red spaghetti sauce. Just one of these sauce mix packs. What I do with this, I put the contents of that package in with about a cup of that broth, and it made just a cup of just kind of like this liquid here. When I'm going to do that, I'm going to use this to add some flavor to the sauce and to keep it from getting too thick. So I'm going to pour some of that in here where this Alfredo was. Pour about half of that for right now. Take this and shake it up. Alright, pour some more of that in there like that. Okay, so we give it a good little flavor. So we can get some more of that Alfredo out of there. Okay, I'm going to turn it down, or I'll go ahead and turn it on off. I don't want to heat this too hot with all this cream in here. I don't want it to burn. But I'm going to turn it back up here just a second because I'm going to start melting some other stuff down in here. I'm going to go ahead and put some herbs and spices in here. I've got some Italian seasoning. Got about a tablespoon of that. It's just basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, a little bit of garlic powder. I've got a little bit of Slap Your Mama and about a tablespoon of garlic. Go ahead and put that in there. Stir it around. And always, if it gets too thick, you can add some of your stock over here. And that's great. The more stock you get incorporated into this dish, the better it's going to be. It really is. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get some cheese in here. Now this is just some Velveeta cheese. It's about 16 ounces. I kind of heated it in the microwave just to get it started. Go ahead and put it off in here. Again, I said the heat's off, so I may have to turn it back up a little bit to melt this cheese. And just cut this cheese up in here. It usually will melt pretty good on its own. It's not that hard. It's just this cheese food, it's the Velveeta. But it's good in this recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this around for a minute. I'm going to turn our heat back up to low. As soon as I get this Velveeta all melted down, I'll come right back to you. Okay, I got the sauce all thin, or all smooth, sorry, not thin. It's nice and just the consistency that I want it though. And I tasted it, and I think it needs a little bit more tomato. So I got another can of Rotel here. So I add about half the can. Half the can. I just want a little bit more of that chunky feel in there. So I'm going to stir that in. Now also, I got one more ingredient that's going to go in this sauce here, this cheese sauce. And this is a very important one. You want to get very young sweet peas. LaFleur's, I don't skimp on these peas. Now with this volume of the recipe, I'm doing a half a recipe. Normally I make it for a big crowd, but I'm going to use a half can. Normally a bigger recipe calls for 2 full cans, but that's making it for a whole 20 people or something. So we're going to put the half can of sweet peas in here. I drain some of the juice out of there. Put these very young sweet peas. Now put that Rotel. We'll stir that up. Just have to stir it just a little bit, and just kind of get that in there. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take this sauce off the heat. Because we're not worried about this right now. Just keep it stirred every once in a while. I got this stock over here, and it's boiling. I'll go ahead and bring it back up high. Got this chicken stock. Got about 3 quarts of it. Then I'm going to go ahead and put some noodles in there. Some macaroni here. I got just some spaghetti. I'm going to go about a package directions as far as cooking it. I'm going to cook this pasta for about 5 to 6 minutes in this water with a rolling boil. Get this damn package here. Now, I always like to just crack mine in half one time before I put it in there. That's up to you. Okay, there it goes. Get a spoon here, a pasta spoon. Go ahead and stir it around for a minute. I'm going to bring this back to the boil, and I'm going to let it boil for 5 minutes. Once this boils for 5 minutes, we'll drain this off, we'll save some of this broth, and we'll move over to deal with that sauce again. Okay, so the noodles have been boiling for about 4 minutes now. Now I tasted them, and they taste plenty al dente to me. I don't want them too soft, but before I drain them, I'm going to be sure and save some of this water. Some of this broth, you should need it here in a minute. I'm going to try to save me about at least a cup. Okay, because this is good stuff and it's going to help us here in a minute. Alright, I got about a little more than a cup in there. I'm going to set this over to the side. I'm going to drain this pasta and I'll be right back. Okay, I got the pasta drained over here at the sink. And over here in this mixing bowl I got about 2 pounds of that shredded boiled chicken from earlier. And I need to use this bowl because I've done this so many times and use about this size. So I'm going to put this pasta in here with this chicken. Alright, that was about a pound of pasta. Then we'll come back and I got this sauce here. This is the sauce that we had over there on the stove. I'm going to pour all this sauce on there. Get all out of the pan. Okay. So now we're just going to take it and we're going to mix everything together. And just get it all incorporated here. Just take a few minutes. Just mix this pasta and all this sauce all up here in this bowl. It's like a big old bowl of spaghetti. And don't worry if it seems like it's thin or it's thick. Mainly, it's probably going to seem a little bit thin right now, but that's going to change. Don't you worry, because we ain't done with this dish yet. Okay? Just get everything mixed up in here. Meanwhile, we got us just a Pyrex baking pan, and I've got a little bit of non-stick spray sprayed around there, and I've got this broth here. Now the reason for this broth, first off, you want to put a little bit in the bottom of that pan, okay, just a little bit, a few tablespoons worth. Now if this were to be too thick, you could always add that broth to it, and it would really help it to thicken up. I mean, help it to thin out if it was too thick. Now I've got this mixed in here pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to dump it in this pan. If you got too much, you can get another pan. I think we'll be just about right. Well, we got to see that chicken there on the bottom. We got to mix that in. So that's fine. We go ahead and we'll get in here while we're in this Pyrex, and we're going to mix it all in. I'm going to go ahead and get all this mixed in. I'll come right back to you. While I'm having to take some of it back in this bowl to mix, thought another thing that'd be real good in here I've used before, some shredded Parmesan cheese. Now, you don't want to put this on top of it before you put it on. You want to mix it in like this, because if you do put it on the top of it, it tends to just form a kind of a burnt little crust on the top. We're going to handle the top of it. We're going to have a topping, so every once in a while you're mixing this, just shake you up a little bit of that shredded Parmesan there, and that'll be real good. Give a nice little tang to it. Okay, now I had it remixed. I've got it all put back in the pan. I've got it evened out. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit for you. There you go. You can see how it's all nice and even with the top of the pan. Now this would be a great stopping point to where if you wanted to finish the dish tomorrow or something like that, you can go ahead and put some foil over this, put it in the refrigerator, and keep it. But we're going to go ahead and we'll finish it tonight. I'm going to show you the last step, or last two steps of this dish. Like I said, right now, it's pretty much done. You got it packed in the pan, everything's mixed together, it's ready to go. So we're going to set this aside for a minute, and we're going to get to making the topping, which is the next to the last step. Okay, now all we're doing is simply making a topping. We'll make a panko bread crumb topping for the chicken spaghetti. I think you've seen me do this before if you're watching my other videos. I melt about a half stick of butter in a saucepan on about medium heat. And as soon as this butter gets all melted down, I'm going to add about 2 cups of panko. So I'm just going to keep adding panko, and I'm going to stir around this butter and let it brown. So I'm going to let this butter melt down real quick, and we'll add this panko. Okay, I've got this butter melted down. Now I've got this, it was an 8-ounce box of panko breadcrumbs, or Japanese breadcrumbs. And I've got half of that box here, which is 4 ounces by weight of the breadcrumbs. I'm going to go ahead and just mix them in here in this butter. And what I'm basically doing, we're just browning this. We'll brown up like toast, and gives the breadcrumbs a little bit more flavor. We'll get these nice and brown, and then we're going to put them as topping on top of our chicken spaghetti bag. So we'll just stir these around here. It usually takes about 2-3 minutes. Just stirring these breadcrumbs, and we'll get them browned up and put them on top of the casserole. Okay, now that you can just see that little bit of bits of brown in there, that's good enough. And see, it's important that you do this. If you don't bake these, or saute them with this little bit of butter, they come out they don't taste quite right. It tastes kind of mealy or just raw undone. I don't know, but they're a lot better if you cook them in a skillet before you put them on top of a casserole. So let's go over here to the casserole. And we'll go ahead and put these on top. Now you don't have to be real specific when you first lay them on here, because we want to spread them out with this some kind of spatula. Okay, I just got them on there like that. Go ahead and just spread an even layer all over the top of that casserole, and they're going to stick there really good because all that starch from the spaghetti will really make them stick. We're going to form a really nice coating, light coating, on top of this this spaghetti. But we're really going to give it a nice little crunch and a little bit of flavor. So there you go, very easy to do. We go ahead and get that spread out just like that, perfect. And you can let these breadcrumbs cool, and you can cover this again and put it back in the fridge if you want to, or you could go directly to the oven. I would suggest let this cool for a little bit and get your oven preheated to 350, and you probably want to put it in the oven in about, at the soonest, probably 15 minutes. Okay, so I went ahead and got my casserole out of the refrigerator. I was letting it cool for a little bit, and I'm about to put it in the oven. Got the oven preheated to 350. Had just 10 on here, so I'm going to take this tin full off. And just go ahead and get it set on in the oven. Preheated 350, and I'm going to set the timer for so I'm going to set the time for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come check. Okay, so it's actually been in there 25 minutes now on 350. If you can see that color, we haven't quite got the color that I want yet. We want to get like it is there on the edges all the way around. And we're not doing any harm by letting it cook a little longer. It's not going to burn on the bottom until it starts to burn on the top. So we're going to let this brown just a little bit longer. It's going to make it all that much better. I'm going to set it for another 5 minutes. Okay, I let it go another 5 minutes, and that's just what it needed. It's got to be perfect brownness on top. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And set up here on the counter. Now, it's very, very important you go ahead and you let it sit here for about 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes, and let it settle in, let all that pasta and the juices get back together before you cut it. If not, it's just going to be really soupy. So I'd let it sit here for 10 minutes, then cut it, and it's going to be a really good dish. Okay, let it sit 10 minutes. Go ahead and just cut it with a spatula here. Get this little piece out. It'll come out just right. There we go. Man, that is some good chicken spaghetti right there. I mean, that is some really good stuff. You can see those layers in there. It's going to be really tasty. So go ahead and follow this recipe and give it a try. It's really simple and easy to do. I promise you, this will be your next little go-to recipe.